We've all experienced that sudden, sickening gut punch. You're looking at your phone, and the text messages that used to be paragraph-long bursts of enthusiasm have dwindled down to one-word answers. Then come the delayed replies. Hours turn into days. Eventually, she hits you with the phrase every man dreads. I think we just need some space. Or the classic kiss of death. I think we should just be friends. Worst of all, you open Instagram 3 days later, only to see her smiling, dressed up, and posing with some new guy you've never seen before. In an instant, your stomach drops, your chest tightens, and your mind starts spinning at 1,000,000 miles an hour. It is a moment of pure emotional rejection, and it feels like a physical blow. But the real tragedy of this moment isn't actually what she did to you. The real tragedy is what 95% of men do next. The moment a woman pulls away, the average guy panics. His survival instincts kick in, but they are entirely the wrong instincts for dating. He overreacts, he spirals, and he begins doing what I call chasing from a wounded place. He sends massive walls of text explaining his feelings. He begs for clarity. He asks what he did wrong. This behavior communicates a terrible message to her. It tells her, I know you just crushed my dignity and cast me aside, but please, can I have some more? It strips away every single ounce of attraction and respect that was left in the relationship. This video is about changing that script entirely. We are not going to talk about how to beg, plead, or negotiate your way back into a woman's life, because you cannot negotiate desire. Instead, we are going to talk about how to handle rejection with absolute power, quiet class, and a level of masculine dignity that she will never see coming. When a woman expects you to fall apart, your greatest weapon is total indifference. You stop giving away your energy, you step out of her arena, and you immediately start clawing your power and your edge back. The moment the rejection happens, your brain undergoes a dangerous chemical shift. Your cortisol spikes, your dopamine drops, and your mind transforms into a forensic crime lab. You find yourself lying awake at 2 a.m., scrolling back through months of chat history, analyzing old emojis, and replaying specific conversations in your head like you're a lawyer on trial. You zoom in on the exact moment the tone shifted, trying to isolate the single mistake you made. You tell yourself, if I can just figure out the exact phrasing that upset her, or if I can just find the perfect sequence of words to explain my perspective, she'll understand. She'll remember who I am, and she'll come back. I can tell you about this firsthand because I lived through the absolute worst version of it. Years ago, I was in a serious relationship. We were about to move in together, we had an apartment lined up, we had a cruise booked, and all of our friends viewed us as the perfect, unbreakable couple. I genuinely thought I was going to marry this girl. Then, out of nowhere, she went out with her friends one Friday night and stopped answering my calls. At first, I played it cool, telling myself her phone was just dead. By the next morning, it was still radio silence. That was when the cold anxiety pooled in my stomach. Over the next 2 months, my entire world was systematically ripped out from under me. First, she backed out of the apartment lease. Then, she canceled the cruise. Before I could even process what was happening, she was openly dating a guy from our mutual social circle, a guy I had literally sat down and shared beers with just weeks prior. I wish I could tell you that I handled it like a warrior or a Stoic philosopher, but I didn't. I completely collapsed. I ended up living on a mattress on the floor of a hollow apartment, sleeping until 4 p.m., in drinking juice straight from the carton and letting empty takeout boxes pile up around me like a monument to my own misery. I wasn't just heartbroken, I was trapped in emotional quicksand. And the hardest lesson I learned from that humiliation is that every single desperate move you make while you're sinking only pulls you down faster. When you are trapped in that emotional quicksand, your standards begin to erode at an alarming rate. You go from being a man who says, I deserve a woman who respects me and chooses me, to a guy who says, well, maybe I can just hang around on the sidelines as her friend while she figures things out. During my own breakup, it got so pathetic that I consciously accepted being her backup plan. Even after I knew she was sleeping with this other guy, I spent hours driving around looking for the absolute perfect birthday present for her, foolishly hoping that a material gift would remind her of my worth. It is incredibly uncomfortable to look back on, but it taught me a fundamental truth about human psychology. What you are experiencing in that moment isn't actually love, and it isn't even heartbreak. It is a severe chemical addiction. You do not actually miss the woman as a human being. You miss the way you felt about yourself when she was still choosing you. When she was texting you and looking at you like you were the man, your ego was getting a massive daily dose of validation. The moment she pulls away, that validation tap is turned off completely. You immediately plunge into a state of severe psychological withdrawal, acting exactly like an addict trying to score their next fix. Here is the harsh reality you must accept if you want to survive this. The more you try to force a fix, the more power you hand over on a silver platter. Every desperate text, every late night call, and every emotional speech doesn't show strength or commitment. It shows absolute terrifying dependence. Women have an incredibly sharp evolutionary radar for masculine weakness, and she can feel your neediness from a mile away. It completely smothers any remaining embers of attraction. To save yourself, you have to make a radical choice. You must break away from the chase frame entirely. Right now, because of how you reacted during the initial rejection, that woman has locked a very specific mental image of you into her head. In her mind, you are the guy who panics, the guy who is always text available, the guy who tolerates disrespect, and the guy who has zero options. Because she has categorized you as completely conquered and predictable, she doesn't think twice about her decision to leave. She feels entirely safe because she believes she knows exactly how the rest of your story plays out. She assumes you will text her in a week, cry, or beg. You break that spell by implementing what I call the validation vacuum. This is the part 95% of men completely miss. You do not change her mind by arguing with her, and you certainly don't change it by sending her profound philosophical quotes on Instagram. You change her mind by entirely removing your presence and creating a massive, echoing void where your attention used to be. Up until this point, even though she pulled away, she could still feel your energetic pursuit in the background. She knew that if her new situation fell through, or if she got lonely, your validation was sitting right there, waiting for her. It provided her with an incredible safety net. The moment you implement the vacuum and go completely dark, you yank that safety net right out from under her ego. You go cold, you go silent, and you focus entirely on your own life. Suddenly, the silence becomes deafening. Because women do not fall back in love through logic, they fall back in love through curiosity and mystery. She will begin to notice the absence of your approval. She will sit at home wondering, why hasn't he reached out? Did he find someone else? Was I not as important to him as I thought? Did he completely outgrow me? By stepping out of the picture entirely, you force her to actually experience the full, cold reality of a life completely devoid of you. The core difference between a low-value man and a high-value man comes down to a single foundational paradigm. A low-value man operates from a position of profound lack. He needs a woman's attention to feel complete. A high-value man operates from a position of complete internal abundance. The absolute most magnetic attitude a man can ever project to the world can be summarized in one simple framework. I enjoy you. I want you in my life, but I absolutely do not need you, and I will be entirely fulfilled without you. When you operate from this framework, you aren't with a woman because you are lonely, desperate, or looking for someone to patch up your deep-seated insecurities. You are already a complete individual. A woman does not complete your life, she merely complements it. Therefore, when a woman decides to pull away or treat you as an option, a high-value man does not get bitter, he does not throw emotional tantrums, and he does not seek revenge. He simply looks at the situation calmly and says, "Understood. You no longer wish to invest in me, so I will no longer invest my limited time, attention, and life force into you." This level of calm, unbothered confidence is profoundly rare, and it is incredibly attractive. When a woman realizes that you genuinely loved her, but that you possess the masculine discipline to walk away forever the very second she stops respecting your energy, it causes an immediate psychological shift. She stops looking at you as a discarded option and starts questioning her own judgment. she begins to wonder if she was the one who failed to measure up to your standard. Pain is an inevitability in life, but you have two distinct paths for what you do with it. You can choose path one, let it break you, spend months stalking her social media, and become a pathetic footnote in her dating history. Or you can choose path two, let the pain sharpen you. Use it as fuel to build an elite physical and mental baseline and become the man who never waits around to be chosen because he chooses himself. Let me leave you with a final, unvarnished truth. You do not win a woman back by showing her how broken you are, and you do not win her back by pleading your case. If a woman is even worth having back in your life, the only way it ever happens is by you becoming a completely different, elevated version of the man she walked away from. You must evolve so rapidly and focus so deeply on your own path that by the time she finally looks back and notices your absence, you are already miles ahead on the horizon to the point where you might not even care about her anymore. Want her if you choose to, but never, under any circumstances, allow yourself to need her. The exact moment she realizes you are entirely willing to walk away and never look back is the exact moment you take your power back. If this message is hitting home for you today, and if you are completely done with falling into those weak, reactive behaviors the second a woman pulls away, then you need to radically upgrade your internal software. To help you lock this mindset in permanently, I put together an advanced audio training called the 21 High Value Beliefs. This isn't a collection of shallow, feel-good mental affirmations or generic advice. This is a rigorous psychological blueprint designed to fundamentally restructure how you view yourself, how you view women, and how you navigate the modern dating landscape. It is designed to be listened to on absolute repeat. Put your headphones in and hit play while you're grinding at the gym, cooking breakfast, or out walking. Let these core principles drill directly into your subconscious mind until they completely replace your old, anxious patterns with cold, unshakable clarity. Stop letting self-doubt talk you into sending that desperate text message. Put your personal power exactly where it belongs, firmly back in your own hands. Before you leave, drop a comment below and let me know the single biggest realization you had from this video, and exactly what action you are taking today to claim your edge back. Hit the like button to help this video reach other men who are currently sitting in the dark dealing with heartbreak, and make sure to subscribe so you never miss a reality check. Stop chasing, start building, and I will see you in the very next video.